Hey, this is Eve, author of Detox with Ease. Happy to be live with you here tonight. Let me fix my lighting. I want to talk to you about depression because I think right now depression is at an epidemic, especially here in the United States. I don't know about where you live, but here I'm sure maybe it's worse where you are, maybe not so bad, but so there's the COVID lockdown, which is getting to be very long. In the United States, we have a lot of political turmoil. Everybody's fighting. Everybody's unhappy. It's really grating on people. A lot of financial issues, a lot of interpersonal issues, a lot of fear. I live right here in Washington, D.C., and frankly, I'm a little worried. They're boarding up buildings down there, not too far from my house, preparing for different kinds of, possible violence and stuff. So anyway, people are having a really hard time. So I wanted to talk more about depression. I know I did the other day. You can go back and look at that video, but I want to talk about it again. So I was very depressed for a few decades. I had a Dysthymic Depression, which means basically you're chronically depressed. It means basically your default mood is depressed. So I was very tired and gloomy, and life was really a downer. I was really very melancholic. I was into, back when I was younger, I was into more politics, philosophy, literature, because I was always searching, like, what's wrong with the world? The world is, like, so messed up. I had a pretty rough childhood. And I was never told that I was a decent human being. So I really grew up feeling like, oh, I'm just nothing and nobody, and life is super hard. That was pretty much my outlook. And so obviously I need to change that if I was to survive. And drinking and, smoking marijuana didn't really last for too long. That wasn't really effective. So I have millions of tricks to being happy. Actually, I'm a very happy person now. And I was telling one of my friends, I'm so skilled at being happy that, I try to hide it a little bit because I don't want people to think, I'm too happy because, there's a lot of people unhappy. And sometimes they feel like I just want to say hi. If anyone comes in, please hit the likes, and if you have any questions, you have anything you want to say hi, you want to say where you're from. So that's my path. I mean, I could go long and hard. I mean, basically, I really literally just lived in a blanket. I mean, I had something happen at 12 years old. Like, I already had a rough life. 12 years old, I had like an incident, and that really made me more depressed, which I didn't know that until I was like 35 and I was in some therapy, and I was like, oh yeah, that's when I really turned a corner for the dark side, but it coincided with like puberty and everything. So what a mess. I did not find the teenage years to be the happiest years of my life or my childhood. It's the opposite. That was the worst thing. They're like, oh, these are the best years of your life. You're like, whoa, I can't imagine it getting any worse than this, And unfortunately, it was the worst years of my life. And when I got to be, 18 and, living my life more on my own terms, things were already better. Better than just when, you're on somebody else's terms. I wrote a whole bunch of stuff down. So also, I've said this so many times, I'll say it again, but so I am the author of this amazing book, Detox with Ease. It's for anyone. It's for somebody who doesn't know anything about toxins. It's for somebody who knows a decent amount. It's not really for a toxin expert. It's a basic overview of how, different kind of toxins, how the body uses the toxins. But I healed myself from multiple chemical sensitivity, and I noticed after I was healed, I was like, hey, I don't just lay on the couch anymore like I used to. Like, I used to lay on the couch, like, a lot. That was like my default, just go back, couch, And I just didn't have that. So I just want to say for me, I'm very sure in my case, and probably every case, that there is the physical factor. It was, when I got rid of all the toxins and also just started doing some yoga, some meditation, learning how to be more relaxed, getting into a lot of different kind of relaxation and feeling good scenarios like nature. I got a lot of healing, and then I had residual depression. Like I wasn't super depressed like I had been earlier in life, but I was a little mopey, you know. And I'm not mopey at all anymore. I mean, I'm not mopey. So that's pretty amazing, you know, because it was literally decades of my life, and you know, we can all think, oh, well, this person, you know, they don't have this, you know, she lives in the United States or whatever, you know, we all feel like our situation was really bad, and that's part of being depressed. Like we're focusing on that. Mine was really bad for me, you know, like, frankly, I haven't seen my family in 5 years. I grew up with my family. It was a little, just not super friendly people. And I was a scapegoat, whatever. It's a long, awful story. And even now I could be sad because I don't even have a family. Like basically, I talk to my mom and dad. That's it. But the rest of them, you know, I'm uninvited. Just weird situation, which is fine. You know, sometimes it's good to be the black sheep because sometimes you don't want to be in that sheep pen. You know, sometimes it's your way to break free. So if you're, you know, a little bit on the outside, it's okay. So what did I write down? I'm just going to rush through my tips, and please ask any questions. So one thing that I did, so this was some time ago, I listened to, like, I had become a born again Christian, which really helped me at the time because I was like, oh, God loves me, you know, because in my personal default mindset was like, oh, nobody loves me, you know, I'm all alone, I'll always be all alone. So you're like, oh, well, God loves me. Oh, that's cool. I mean, I was pretty excited about that. But just, even if you're not Christian, there's other kinds of music for whatever religion you might or might not have. But the thing is that there's some very positive music. They'll be like, oh, you know, happiness and praise and you're so great and life is so good. Like that praise and worship music, not like ballads where they're like, oh, I'm so sad, but at least you still love me, which, I mean, that can be good too, but you don't want to overdo the downer songs. But just getting into that Thanksgiving mode, you know, I mean, everybody's saying this now, but being grateful or Thanksgiving or appreciation is like a quick way to quickly fix you for the moment, at least, if you can get into it. You know, you can't always, if you're way down, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm so happy, you know, got a roof over my head, who cares? You know, but for maybe the average kind of depression, that might be work. So they're like, oh, God, thank you, you know, for the birds, everything. So that was really helpful, but I would listen to it over and over because my default mindset was just so down, you know, I was just down. I was like, life's awful, you know. I was suicidal for years on end. When I was like 7, I think when I was 15 or 16, I said, okay, I won't kill myself until I'm 23. Because I was always thinking about killing myself. But I'm like, that was like a little deal I made with myself, which is something you can do too. Made a little deal. I was like, okay, I'll wait till I'm 23. And then if life still completely sucks, I'm done. And, you know, by 23, things were a lot better. I was now, like, I could live my own life, you know, wherever I chose to live. So that was really good. I was still kind of down, but not like that whole teenage 21, 22 is a disaster. So listen to really happy things. I actually also, like, for several years, listened to Abraham Hicks. You can listen to it on YouTube. You know, you can either agree or disagree with whatever is the mindset, you know, worldview of that thing. But whenever I will put it on, I will feel better. So if you can find stuff that makes you feel better and just constantly go with that, you can feel a little better. And just start to notice the things that make you not feel good. Like I was on Twitter today. I really never watched the news or anything since I was 18 or so. I did get into some politics at a few different times in my life. And but I'm not, and I vote, that's about it, you know. But I went on Twitter and there was like some bad stuff happening in the world, and kind of, really made me feel bad. So whatever's happening in the world isn't really happening right here in my block. So why am I going to feel bad? I'm not helping anyone by feeling bad about what happens, out in the world. So I don't think that's healthy if you're depressed. I kind of feel like these very deep, dark, and difficult subjects, those are for the people who really are strong and can handle it. There are people who are very strong, and I'm grateful that those people are into the politics and stuff. But for me personally, I'm not, I can't do it. So what you're putting in your head, there's a ton of amazing stuff on YouTube, like every day, every moment. There's podcasts, there's the School of Greatness, there's like every great spiritual book that you've ever found. Like you can just look on audio books, uplifting, positive thinking, meditations. You can put in background music that's like transmitting love out into your living room. So these kind of things are amazing, and they're free, and they do help. Let's see. So you might have some friends who are also like in your same, kind of mindset. So birds of a feather flock together. So probably if you're really depressed, your friends are probably depressed too. And they're probably like, yeah, the world, so awful. I mean, everybody's kind of saying it now, but well, not everybody, but quite a large percent of people. But, it's sucking your energy out and depleting you, making you depressed. So you right now, even in this like kind of chaotic moment, can retain all of your energy, your good feeling mood, or at least not so awful feeling mood, and then you can use that energy to make your life better. The thing is, once you get really depressed, you get focused on everything that's going wrong, you get stuck, you get paralyzed, and you can't progress. And so you're like, see, look, my life's terrible, I told you. And it's not an easy thing to do, to change from that state to a state that's moving forward. And like just something that I tell you may or may not work. You might need to do them all. You might need to do something else. Like, I'm not a doctor. Yeah, certainly if you can go to therapy, and that's, that's great. Or counseling, but I think most people do not have that available at this moment. And personally, I think, some counselors are good and a lot of them aren't. So that for me is always very hit or miss. So like your friends who are the most kind of downers, like try to spend less time with them, or just, shut the door on that for a while and try to find new friends who are happier than you. I just joined this amazing program. I might be able to put a link below. I don't know. It's just the Bob Proctor thing. So I was like, for me, it was like, oh, I'm just going to like hang out with these people who are all positive and moving forward and helping each other. Because there are a lot of people like that out in the world. Just I was having a hard time finding them. And then especially now with the COVID and everything, you're like, well, where am I going to find these amazing people? And some of my best friends are like people on YouTube who I've never met, who don't even know me, like people that I've listened to. But I have met some people, and it has been amazing. That's a great book, You're a Badass. It's on YouTube for free. Just look up like You're a Badass audio. And so she said, oh, I had to buy my friend. So I paid like a small amount of money to be in this group, which is totally worth it, I want to give you some books that helped me. Books could be anything. When I was younger and very, very, very depressed, my favorite book was Autobiography of Malcolm X, which is not the same as reading the abridged version or watching the movie, but this guy had a worse life than I did. He was one of the few people that I could really feel like, wow, his life's even worse than mine. Most people, like, I felt like, they don't know. They don't know that's what suffering is, So Malcolm X, he was completely inspired me because he ended up in jail. Like he had a very rough life. Then he ended up in jail. And in jail, he started analyzing himself and the situation, how he got there. And he taught himself to really read at a high level, and he became a great scholar. And he turned around the darkest situation and made it, he did it. And I was like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And, unfortunately, like the end of the story got a little rough, but, well, quite rough. But for me, that was very inspirational at the time. I would read actually a lot of biographies of people, artists and artists. So of course, you have this angst, artists and philosophers and thinkers. A lot of depressed people are highly intelligent, highly creative, or people who just really have a great heart, and they're looking around going, well, what is this? Who are these people? And why are they so mean? So yes, what was I saying? Brain freeze. DT books. So I would read a lot of books of artists, and I would just notice stuff like even Virginia Woolf. Well, she committed suicide, was kind of a downer at the end. But even other people, like great artists, any kind of great person, there's always, if you read their biographies, there's always these little chunks that are missing. They're just a paragraph. And it would be 2 years, 5 years, 6 years. And those were the years they were really suffering. They weren't producing anything. So unless it was a really good drama story, that was just a little blip on their biography. And I was like, oh, okay. So, the suffering and the sadness is just a piece of your life. And like for mine now, it's like a blip. I don't even hardly remember it. It's a blip. So just reading and looking and trying to find something that can inspire you. Now just read tons of positive stuff. But if you're super depressed, that positive stuff might really just get on your nerves. So that's not going to help. You just do what you can. I did like that Bible. I still like a lot of the Bible, although I'm not, a Christian particularly. But I do like tons of the Bible. And Jesus was very cool. Very inspirational, upbeat, if you don't read into trying to figure out the complicated theology, that really confusing, but just some very beautiful things said in there, as in every spiritual book. Says in Quran, my favorite verse, Quran says, whatever you thank God for, God will give you more of. So actually that goes back to the appreciation thing. So I had a real ritual in the morning, get up, say some prayers, and I would just say, thank you, thank you, thank you. All the things that I wanted more of, thank you for this money, thank you for this credit card, thank you for this good part of this relationship, which maybe I got my heart broken in the end, but there was the good parts. I just go, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you down through all the good parts, because I want more of those good parts. Even my money, I got $10, thank you, I'm going to have more. So every kind of religious book has these sayings, and everybody's doing the gratitude now, because it changes your vibration, it changes your feeling. If you can manage to do it, that's cool. But if you can't, so I learned this from Abraham Hicks. It's called moving up the emotional scale. That's very good if you do the Hicks. Just moving up the emotional scale. The bottom is depression, because you're stuck. You're not moving. So moving up, a step up from there might be anger, might be revenge, might even be boredom. So energy moving, it's good to get angry, or it's good to, I'm not saying get revenge, but, or just get the energy moving. Don't get it it gets stuck inside of you and weighs you down. I frankly am a huge fan of kickboxing. I love kicking and hitting stuff. I didn't know that until I did it, but it moves a lot of energy, and it moves a lot of energy from your body. Some of us who are depressed, we have a lot of energy, and it just kind of implodes on the inside and weighs us down. So just find a way to change your energy. I find grounding in nature is really good. Just I have a video on that, you can see it. Get new friends, books. I also love this book, The Untethered Soul and the Surrender Experiment. I like it a lot, because it was just when you get a bad feeling, instead of resisting it and being oh, why is this happening to me, or whatever, you just kind of says relax your shoulders, relax your heart, and just breathe and just think of this feeling and like, what is it really? Like in the huge scope of things. He says, oh, we're, on a planet spinning around outer space. But it's a very good book all about the voice in the mind and how we all have the voice in the mind. And the voice is mostly a bunch of crap that we don't need to be listening to. It's super negative. And just the way he explains this, which is also, I think, free on YouTube audio. The Untethered Soul. His name's Michael Singer. Very good book. It's helped me a lot. Even if you feel like, oh, I'm not popular, or, oh, I'm poor, whatever. Again, like a broken, whatever, you have an illness or whatever is your thing that you feel like is, the cause of your sadness, like you put it in perspective, like especially that helped me a lot, I'm not really born just to be popular or to look like this movie star, have a Lambo, like it's not really, that is their life, and it's not really, like when you really sit down and think about it, it's not a huge deal unless you really want one, and then, find a way to get it. Let's see. Oh yeah, Cybernetics. That's also a very good book. It helps you. It's a very good on kind of how you can reprogram your self-image into a positive self-image. A lot of time when we're having issues, it's because of our self-image. There's just so many stuff out there on YouTube. I don't like to read that much, but you can read tons of stuff too. Exercise, of course, is proven in studies to be more beneficial than antidepressants. So I love exercise. The thing about exercise, if you're really depressed, it's very hard to exercise. So for you, exercise might be like getting out of bed, taking a shower, and getting dressed. That might be your exercise. It just depends on where you're at. If there's any way you can get exercise, you can come. I do daily on Zoom. I do yoga. I do sit-ups. I do Wim Hof breathing. Wim Hof breathing is amazing. It makes you feel super happy. And that makes me feel super happy. If you're super depressed, it might make you feel like just okay, which is quite an improvement. His whole Wim Hof is like get high on your own supply. That's his tagline. So you do this kind of breathing where you get your body floods with oxygen. Any kind of exercise is good. I personally, since COVID, I get up and I go running outside in the morning every day, almost every day. And I need to be outside and see the sky, the birds, other people, get the sunshine, connect with nature, and then I can come back home and stay and work all day. Actually try to go out a few different times. Really try to get out of the house. Also get dressed. If you're a woman, try to get dressed in a way that makes you feel really good about how you look. Also a man, maybe, just fight the COVID thing. Like I was drinking a lot for a while in the beginning, but I really just kind of moved away from people that drink, because I'm the kind of person, like if you're drinking, I will drink, but I don't have alcohol in my house and I don't regularly look for it. So I noticed that alcohol is a depressant. So alcohol is not helping you if you are depressed. It's making you more depressed. So if you need to stimulate your endorphins, maybe find something else. I don't know what. B vitamins are good. Eating very healthy food is good. Getting a lot of nutrition is good. I personally had to eat a lot of meat. Back when I was depressed, I was a vegetarian. I had to get more protein, more meat. Taking probiotics is good. So gut health. A lot of people are depressed because, well, it coincides with our gut health not being okay. You need to get those probiotics. Try not to eat GMO food, corn or soy, unless it's organic. Try to eat more organic food because our guts, our intestines are like miles long, and when they get degraded, which they will if you've taken antibiotics, if you're eating GMO food, stress, all these things are really bad for the gut, and they call the gut the second brain, and we have neurotransmitters, serotonin things are created in our gut. So many times depression is just physical. Like literally when I healed my illness, my depression went away. So these are very intertwined. It's not just like from the head up. You know, you're depressed. It's your whole demeanor, your whole body. You feel sluggish, you feel tired. It might just mean you're tired. Maybe you just don't have enough energy. So that, you know, when you have a lot of energy, you can just kind of like get through stuff. You know, it's like having a strong immune system. You can be exposed to some germs, but they're not going to get you because you can fight them off. And having energy is the same way. I love this red light therapy device, which I'm going to show you. I totally think it's the cure for depression. I haven't read a study on it. I know it reverses Alzheimer's, but when I bought this, if ever I was even feeling a little tired, this amazing red light will like perk me right up. So just if you're feeling a little drabby, there's light therapy too. I used to have a light box because I used to be very seasonal affective disorder. When it was gloomy, I was gloomy. So when it got dark in this time of year, I got dark and I stayed dark. I was dark in the summer too, but this machine is amazing because it has like the red rays of the sun. This is a big one, but you can get a small one and just put it near your face and eyes. Shut your eyes when you use it. But amazing. I think that's the best. If you can't even exercise, like get yourself a red light because you can lay in your bed or your couch and you can plug it in. Like that's the easiest thing to do. That's my number one go-to. Like even Wim Hof breathing, you have to breathe. And when you're depressed, you're depleted, you don't have energy. So just plug in that red light, be like, and then maybe like 5-10 minutes later, all of a sudden you feel like, hey, you know, I feel like doing something. I'm going to do more. I got a whole bunch of more tips. Like, of course, cleaning your house, organizing, you know, these things are reflective of our inner states. So sometimes we feel like we're too busy and we're behind in everything. We got to do all this work. Sometimes you just have to stop and like clean your room or clean something that needs it or clean yourself. Sometimes we just stop worrying about accomplishing things and just do the basic. And then once we do the basic, like do a little yoga, a little exercise, a little meditation, things that we don't think we have time for because we're so behind in everything. At least I am. But you do those first, then you have the energy to do the other stuff later. Of course, reach out if you're really depressed. I don't want to say anything about self-harming because I'm not any kind of therapist. I don't even know what's legal to say. But if you write me, I will write you back. You know, call someone, put it out on Facebook. I've seen there's groups on Facebook like anxiety and depression. And I mean, maybe it could feel worse if you write, oh, you know, I feel this and I feel like doing this, and you don't hear back from anyone. That could be even worse. But I know there's a lot of people that do actually care, which is amazing. They really care. I know tons of people who just care about anyone. So that would include you. And tons of people really care about people who are depressed. That's why I even made this video. It's not my number one, you know, thing that I talk about. Although it is like amazing that I healed that. It just comes with healing. And, you know, you might just be, a lot of times depressed people are very smart, very artistic. You know, people who are more shallow are just like going along, you know, just like watching Netflix or whatever people do. I don't know. They are just simpler and they don't feel as bad. So actually depression, I think, is a sign of great genius. At least it was in my case. It's a joke. Sort of. No, it's not a joke, really. And this body needs like a lot of nutrition, needs a lot of upbeat, needs a lot of positivity, needs a ton of exercise, needs a lot of stretching, needs hobbies, needs good people. That's me. I'm very high maintenance in my emotions. You know, other people, they could live the most life that we could think is the most difficult life in the world, but you know what? They're okay because that's just how they're wired, you know? If you're depressed and you're watching this, it's just, you know, you might be wired to be a little more sensitive, or if you had something really bad happen, I mean, you know, that's sometimes, I've seen a lot of people on the depression boards, like they just had terrible tragedies happen, and you know what? Like, if you just had a terrible tragedy happen, you're gonna feel really bad, and that's just, you just try to get through it, you know, as best you can. And but this is more for like a long-term depression. And then I just want to always repeat is that, like, it didn't take one day to get depressed, you know, it took, you know, with any, it is a chronic illness. I mean, they try to give you chronic medicine for the rest of your life. Like, that means you have a chronic condition. Then a chronic condition usually did not happen overnight. You know, usually it's just like one thing and another thing, another thing and another thing. And then also your mind got going in that direction. Maybe you started drinking. I mean, maybe you started watching tons of depressing shows. Maybe you don't know that there's a whole amazing life out there, and you think you have to just watch some stupid stuff on TV like everyone does. I mean, you don't. It's, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, oh, that's their life. I don't know. I get weirded out watching TV sometimes. I don't really do it that much. It's I'd just rather be doing something else. But, you know, you can compare yourself to people on TV. You could think they're real. Or it could just be really dark. People are always getting murdered. Yeah, there's so much drama, you know. I don't really enjoy it that much. Okay, I think that's all I want to say for this video. Please hit the likes. Share with your friends if you know anybody who's depressed. Eat healthy. Maybe you need to eat more. Sugar's no good. I said that in my other video. Different kinds of nuts. Peanut butter is amazing. Got tons of E vitamins. All of the walnuts are good for you. Anything that's good for your brain. Ginkgo, green tea, meat, all the vegetables, herbs, butter. Oh, and one last thing, just listen to what your body craves, except for if it's sugar and alcohol, because that's your parasites craving that. It's not you. But if you feel like, oh, I really want to eat a lot of cheese, or like I want to eat tons of rosemary or whatever, or like this week I'm like completely into onion soup. You know, sometimes just go with that. Could be your body needing a lot of one nutrient. Sometimes you might be depressed because you're just missing one nutrient. Did somebody say I got the light in my eye? Lucky 7. Oh, that's so cute. Hi. That's a good name. And you can even do stuff like that to cheer yourself up, like make like upbeat names and passwords. What was my last point? Yeah, listen to your body. Yeah, it could just be one nutrient that you're missing. Like, on healing any chronic illness, and how I healed my incurable multiple chemical sensitivity was just not giving up. You just, one thing doesn't work, okay, listen to Christian music, oh, nothing. You know, you just keep trying stuff, and eventually something will work. You know, it's like you got to be like a warrior, put on like those songs from the 80s that are like, you can do it, wow, 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 whatever. Like, music motivates you and lets you know that just keep going, you know, be like, never surrender. Sometimes it could be like one mineral, literally. So that's why it's good to really do whatever you can with your diet. Lots of people on the internet saying, oh, you have to be this, you have to be that, you have to be the other. I don't agree with that. I think you can be anything you want. I think you can eat anything you want. And I think you will know the best what's good for you. So just keep finding your way. I mean, you can try these different diets. I do kind of keto-ish diet. I don't really eat too much carbs or sugar, but that's taken me a long time. I mean, I was a total sugar addict. So I have videos on that. But you just keep you just go a little bit in the right direction. You know, one day, I mean, you could totally heal. Just get that relight, start doing the things that it takes. Maybe you're depressed because you really want to do something, but you don't think you're any good at it. Well, guess what? Just make yourself do it. You know, maybe you're in a relationship with one of these narcissistic, abusive people. Like, you know what? You can go to a shelter. You can go work at McDonald's. Like, sometimes you might need to take drastic measures. Usually you don't, you know, but you know, oh, maybe you've always wanted to do this, but your parents, you know, wanted you to go into law. You know, you can start doing that other stuff, you know, like on the weekends, and see, did you really want to do that? You know, like, healing of any illness is actually like self-discovery, you know, and it's once you are feeling better, it's awesome, and you want to share with other people. So namaste, you know, whatever. Namaste. All right, I'm very giggly and happy because I got all this red light, I got the oxygen, I got the nature, I have some nice friends. Take care, you guys. Ciao.